Compassion and Choices New Mexico is an affiliate of Compassion and Choices National, which is the largest and oldest nonprofit working on end-of-life choice in the United States. We work to expand and protect patient rights. We offer end-of-life counseling, which is a volunteer-based service, matching trained volunteers with people who are going through the end-of-life process. We also provide advanced planning support, including advanced directives. We have digitized forms for every state on our website. We also provide litigation services in cases where people's advanced directives were not complied with, or in other instances. We're on the ground in a multitude of states now, and growing. Our movement is definitely growing across the country as we look at different strategies, whether they're legislative, legal, regulatory, or otherwise, really promoting the cause in a multitude of ways depending on what the climate is in each of the states.
The physicians can legally prescribe a lethal dose of a drug which the patient takes on their own at a time of their choosing, and then speed up their death in that manner. Very often, or mostly, it is with in the presence of their family, it is with the approval of the family, and everybody has accepted that this is how the patient will die, rather than to suffer through longer periods of time.
The slippery slope is one that, oh my goodness, if we let a conscious, good-thinking person make this decision to ask a doctor to aid them in their dying, we may then open the door to family abuse. We want to get rid of mother because she has $1 million and we want it, or just well, she's in the way and we want to get rid of her. Or that, oh goodness, next thing you know, people with disabilities, we will start just putting them down, just like they were a dog, or any of the other things you can think of that people might think of as a slippery slope. The slippery slope has been argued to death on this, and I think all of the states that now allow this have shown that it doesn't happen, that if you put in good parameters, you will not have the issue of abuse to any kind of aid in dying.
I just don't think people should be afraid to talk about dying and talk about doing so in a dignified, doing so in a civilized manner where everyone is as comfortable as they can be with the situation. And I think that, I hope that I live in a nation where, in a community where we can have this conversation. And I think that's the problem. I don't think most people want to have it. And everybody goes through it, and I know that it's made my life, my family's life, and my old man's life a lot easier to be able to talk about this and have those conversations. And I've heard folks' stories where they can't. And they're in a situation where I'm in pain, I've got cancer or whatever, and I may want to at least talk about this with someone. And if they can't even have that conversation, if they're so scared because of law that they won't talk to anybody because they're worried about them getting into trouble, that's not right. It's just not. And I want people to be open. I want people to be honest. I want people to be forthright so that they have the ability to, if they so choose, talk about it and then make a decision.
It's a freedom we should be granted. That we're free to do things that we're free to do in other ways, you know? We aren't free to do things that are against the law, and I don't think this is against the law. This is a human right. This is a human right. So as I said, it's important to me that I can have my life the way I want. It's up to me how I live my life. And dying is part of life. And I want to know that my doctor agrees with me and will be there for me, as she's been there all this other time, that she'll be with me at that point too.
We will do everything. When we go to visit people, we'll say, oh, you look so good. I mean, they look like they're at death's door, but we still say, you look so good, you're doing so well. I understand your last chemo round went really good. And that cuts off conversation. There was a wonderful article about a new book, which I think I have to get in the paper Sunday, about what to say to people when you go visit them in the hospital or at home after they've had a thing. And it sounds very honest and yet caring about this person. And I think that we need to recognize that these issues need to be talked to long before, starting with advance directives and discussions. A piece of paper is not going to be much guidance to you at the time of death if you haven't had a conversation.
It is not about choosing death over life. It is about choosing the time of death in somebody who is dying.